gonna take a look at the front headlock, head and arm, and how we can use that position to get your partner on their back and set up some chokes. Let's just talk about where we should start. So I'm gonna start with my chest over on the top of his shoulder blades here. Okay? And then my hand is gonna be right by his chin. It's really shallow. Try and grab my elbow. Right here, the highest he can grab is my forearm. Notice my elbow is tight up against my side. Right? My hip, elbow, his shoulder, and neck are all connected. Try and grab my shoulder. From that position where he can't grab my elbow, I'm gonna just turn his chin sideways. So I'm just pushing my thumb in the side of his jaw to turn his head sideways. It's really important that we set this, his neck in this position before we continue. My elbow, he can't reach. I've turned his chin. Then I'm gonna reach over and I'm gonna reach over pretty deep and I'm gonna grab my wrist here. Notice the hand that's grabbing the wrist, right? My hand that's around his head is reaching over and grabbing my wrist, not the other way around. Once we have everything locked in place, then we can start to put pressure on their chin. And I'm gonna put pressure on him by walking my knee forward and lifting him up here. If he doesn't move or if he stays, we can get the choke from here. Okay. Most of the time, he's gonna give up off of his knees, right, to take away the pressure here. So as he does that, everything is set. Elbow, I've turned his chin, I lock my hand. Now I'm gonna start to stuff him with my hips, right? Notice my knees walking forward here. That forces Kyle to elevate his hips so that he doesn't get choked out, right? And then I'm just gonna roll. When I roll, I'm rolling sideways. I'm not trying to take him over my back. I'm just trying to take him over towards my shoulder. It's really important that I take away as much space as I can by driving my hips forward and lifting his chin, his shoulder, his chest into my stomach. Once we get them on their back, we need to adjust our lock. So once I get him here, I'm gonna adjust, but then look, I'm pushing with my hips. My hips are off, and then I throw my elbow to the mat, and I get my lock from his chin to the side. Right? And then that gives me the space to hip heist and get to my knees. There's two main chokes once we get on top. One, I thread my arm through, grab my bicep. Two, I'm just gonna keep my hands locked and I'm gonna come over on top like a guillotine. Let's take a look at the finishing parts first. So first, his arm is across his jaw. I'm gonna slide my lock through and I'm gonna grab my bicep. So I have my lock here and then I can reach up, grab his shoulder, his lat, and I'm just gonna lay flat here, coming down onto the ground. On the next one, notice how his arm came around my body. Now I'm gonna step over, keep everything tight as I drop. My knees are on the mat, my forehead goes to the mat, and I'm throwing my forearms into his armpit and his neck.